Okay, hello.
Hello, Vita.
Hi, everyone. So,
Hey everyone.
yeah, hi. So we basically
Hi.
wanted to show you this short video until more people come and join us. So, yeah, we are starting our LinkedIn Live today with the 4 speakers, including myself. And hello to everyone, whatever time zone you are. So we have a lot of time zones. Thank you guys for joining from Africa, Middle East. I see Indonesia, Singapore here, London, and like a lot of locations. So myself sending you regards from Lithuania. We have a quite nice summer afternoon. So good morning or good afternoon, everyone. So basically, we have 4 speakers. So starting with Tayo. So Tayo is now, well, she will introduce herself in a minute, basically, but in a few words, she is working with Beiersdorf, so in FMCG sector. But when we met, she was actually on the agency side years back. So like a lot of experience from agency and brand side. Then Alex is working for AirtelTigo, so telecommunications and operators, one of our favorite type of partners, obviously. And Matt, so basically, Matt, for how long I know you're on agency side, right? And more like performance driven.
Yeah, that's right.
So guys, maybe you can like tell just a few minutes, like, your experience in digital and just about yourself.
Okay, I'll start. Hello, everyone. My name is Temitayo. I'm currently the digital manager at Beiersdorf for Central, East, and West Africa. Like Vita mentioned, every other years of experience I had has been on the agency side, the last 8 years. So I'm glad to be here and glad to speak to you guys and share some of my experiences with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Offei Lartey. Currently head of digital and social marketing at AirtelTigo Ghana. Digital for me is one area that I find very interesting, and I see a lot of opportunities for businesses in digital going forward. There are a lot of people who are moving online day by day. We see the numbers increasing, and it makes digital one key area where businesses can really factor into their long-term agenda, not even, I mean, there's both long-term and short-term agenda. I'm going to share a few experiences with display advertising and what we used to do before and what we are going to do in the years ahead. Right. Thank you very much.
Great. Hey guys. So I'm Matt. I'm actually still based in Cape Town. I was meant to move to London a few months ago, and then little thing called COVID happened. My experience is that I've worked mainly agency side for the past 12 or so years of my career. I did a short stint working on the publisher side as well. Got to meet some highly intelligent people that knew the publisher side of the display incredibly well, and always enjoyed talking to them. So my thoughts, or how I got into digital, was a little bit of pleasant mistake. I started as a copywriter at a small boutique sort of digital agency, and was stupid enough to keep volunteering for things when AdWords and social media all sort of started to come into the fore, and fell in love with it from there. I think the big thing is for me is the potential that display in particular has, and really how all the different channels of digital marketing feed into each other to really tackle a full funnel approach from the top right down to the bottom. And yeah, I think one of my things about digital was I personally couldn't stand pop-up ads when I first started joining and using the internet. I'm sure we all remember sort of around 1998, 99, for example, as glaring bright pink and yellow and flashing adverts in your face that meant absolutely nothing, to me, the internet has been such a great thing for humankind and has opened up so many opportunities. We use it for ourselves. And I feel that the advertising and the types of ads and content that we're being forced or pushed to consume, that needs to be within line of who we are, what we want, and are we at that right frame of mind to consume that display advert at that time. So, yeah.
So this is pretty much what we are trying to do now, but this is actually what we will touch when talking about the future, right? And how we will make this journey better for clients, like agencies and clients, but the user, which is the most important, right? So I think that is one of the agendas today. So so these are our speakers, and now this LinkedIn Live is a bit different. So all of us, first of all, we come from different areas and sectors, but all of us agreed that we don't want to stick to slides, share our screens, and so on. We want to make it like a live discussion, and not like platform related, but in general, like future of display advertising related. And please be free to share your comments and questions in the section. I already see that there are a lot of people sending us hello from South Africa, Israel, Kenya, Angola, Zambia. So like the whole world is here. So just please type your questions if you have those. Some of them would be answered during the session. Some of them would be answered by the end, so that you are with us till the end. It won't be that long, don't worry. I want to spend a lot of time. And
it gives us enough time to Google on the side. We have to, Vita.
Yeah. Since we are 4 of us, now we can Google one of us, right? So what is the response? Okay, so then don't be afraid if you lose something, because the recorded version would be on our page on LinkedIn, so you can watch it anytime after that, and also type some questions if we don't answer them, right? So yes, for those who are still joining, the topic today is the future of display advertising, which again, someone sees like flying cars or something, but we'll try to keep it not that futuristic. We'll try to make it simple and realistic. And what can we do from a brand perspective, agency perspective, and publisher perspective or platform perspective to make the journey for users and clients both mutually beneficial, basically. So just to start, so actually I saw Alex post, so that's why I want to raise this. So a lot of people up till now, so when you ask about display advertising, they only think about social. And that's why we need to maybe differentiate a bit or actually merge, because display advertising is not only social, it is also like a lot of platforms now, and they are growing. So guys, maybe you can share your experience on what you hear about display advertising, like how it is being only social, like Facebook and Instagram, sometimes maybe Snapchat or something like that. And how do you see the display? What platforms are maybe working the best for you, and what platforms are you used to for display advertising?
Okay. I think if I can just jump in, one of the things that makes social so usable and user friendly from an advertiser's point of view or agency side point of view is that the back end of those platforms are incredibly simple to use. The guys like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of them, they've really created software that makes buying and executing the media buy very simple. And for most people, it's quite easy to jump on. And if you follow the steps step by step, it becomes, it's kind of hard to make a big mistake, although those do happen. So that's from the agency side. From using the social as an advertising side to the end user, so much time is spent by users on social media platforms and seeing the different types of ad units, etc. So you think about carousels, stories, those types of things. And if you just take a human element to it, humans, we learn by repeating and by seeing the same thing and trialing it. And that's what makes us such fantastic animals to have on this planet. And I think that's what makes social a little bit different to display is the fact that the users really get in, like they become intuitive on how those ad units work. They interact with them. They're far more engaging. We are seeing certain display products out there that are now pulling social media advertising into the web-based environment. And those types of ad units do have increasingly good engagement and good click-through rates, etc. The thing that concerns me about them is, are users clicking on them and interacting with them more that they feel that it's a game and that it's a social thing to do? Or are they getting the message of what the advertiser is advertising? So, that's where we need to start looking on the back end of things like bounce rates and how much time is spent interacting with the landing pages, etc. So that's just my initial thoughts to kick things off.
But okay, thank you. So Alex, what about you, and how do you see, maybe even what is interesting, how it was evolving from being only social to maybe other platforms also?
Yes. Okay. So again, to reference my post, I wrote that because I've come across a lot of digital strategies where it's just social media and nothing else. A lot of data strategies. So I feel that means the people are not aware of display ads, and currently how it's advanced into programmatic ads and all. Social, I would say, gives you that audience who spend a lot of time on a particular platform. And because you also have a following, you're able to engage that small unit of people a lot more. That's, for me, that's how social is able to engage them. And especially because of it in I would say, the mode of conversations, people can share, people can repost and all, so you're able to engage. But in terms of reach, until recently, you wouldn't see social posts appearing in web. So that was what Matt mentioned, that now they're able to push all these social contents into web, but that was just recently. Now, if I should compare with this display, I have these measures, these metrics that I measure with. So I look at reach, I look at targeting, I look at the content format, I look at the performance. So in terms of reach, I see display getting a lot more reach than the social, because social has fewer audience, but because of interactivity, you can engage them a lot more times, meaning they can see you, the frequency is higher. Now, when it comes to targeting as well, with the advancements in display, you're able to really, really, really target and go deep down into who you want your ad to be shown to. That is also another one. And the next is the content format. So social basically has still images, videos, and all. I think these are the two main ones, and audio, I would say. Display currently gets you rich and interactive media where somebody sees the ad and can actually undertake the activity that you want the person to like. The person doesn't really need to move from that page onto your website or onto your Facebook page or whatever page, but right on the ad, the person is able to engage and do what you want the person to do, the action you want the person to take. So for me, this is how I've experienced it, from when digital used to be just social, to now where I mostly encourage people to include the display and other digital strategies into, so you can have a whole collection of channels and platforms to use for your advertising.
Thank you. Tayo.
Yeah, if I may just add on to what Alex has said, especially from the ad format point of view, of course, the social platforms are, introducing different formats every now and then. Howbeit, compared to display, is still quite limited. I mean, for platforms like Eskimi and other programmatic platforms, and how on a very regular basis they try to look for solutions that deliver creativity, that deliver impact for brands, in terms of the ad formats. So from that point of view, there's that one up with display versus what social can offer, and also the fact that with social, a number of people will tell you, I do not go on Facebook, I do not have a Facebook account, and things like that. But of course, you search, you browse, you browse websites, you would see these banners. Then the challenge comes in how you create your strategy to help your brand stand out, because you go to certain sites, there's already 5 leaderboards, immediately you hit the page. So why would I look at this brand over the others? So however, in terms of opportunities and creativity, and how you can utilize different formats to bring your idea to life, display gives you that breadth of opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, so from my end, from sometimes when I hear our partners saying like we are using only Facebook and Instagram for our digital strategy, this is like a kind of, yeah, of course you have to use them, but like why are you so limited, right? So you lose a lot of opportunities. For example, for a human being who doesn't have an Instagram or Facebook account, being the simple example, right? So I think we have like the whole funnel basically. So you need to also be open to other platforms, right? But my question, maybe before we move to into what is actually the future, which is the topic today, but just shortly, like how your experience in digital and display advertising was changing, like through maybe a past few years, and especially during this year, like how it was evolving, maybe. So maybe you have some like just insights on how on the growth, or if, how it was evolving, or maybe decreasing. So yeah.
I'll go on that. I'd say that, I mean, as far back as 2014, when I really got immersed into the digital space, at the time where you have to, if you want to optimize your campaign, you have to create several banners, to now where we have DCO, whereby, these banners are created by AI, going from a time where you had just the static option, and then you have to test whether the blue button works better than the red button or the gray button, which one to use. And now you are at the space where you can do in-banner video, you can do a leads banner, right? You can do an interactive banner, swipe, shake. You can do all of these creative things. So, I mean, the space has, tremendously evolved, which then, it's no longer just put up a display banner and let it, and that is it. It's no longer just transform your KV into a banner and do the different sizes and keep it moving. Now there's a lot more thought that needs to go into your display strategy. It needs to really fit into the entire whatever it is that you're doing, because there's so much more that can be done than just having just the regular image, go up on there and go up across several sites. There's optimization. There's also targeting options. Now you can do remarketing. There's a lot of other targeting options that you now have, which you didn't have before, which then makes the whole personalization thing, or, which makes the whole contextual thing a lot more important, a lot more better, because now you have things like native advertising, which is to make the ad look like it's a part of a website. Before, it will jump out at you, it will be a pop-up like Matt said, and you have to deal with it. So yeah, it's really, really evolved over the years.
Okay, good. I'll just add to that. So just a little background of how advertising online started in Ghana. So it started as businesses listing their products and services on local publisher sites, on websites as directories. So if you can pay, then they will make your banner the banner for that directory. So if somebody is looking for telcos, somebody is looking for banks, and goes to the banks page, then it will be your banner that is put up there. Went further into, then your banner can be placed on the homepage of the website. Then they started this. So the idea was they just picked how the front page of a newspaper looks like and used that to place their ads until we got to the point where, okay, there is a way you can push ads for them to show in the websites without contacting these local publishers.
Vendor.
And that was how display really changed in our part of the world here. Because people still meet me and ask me, how come you are able to show your adverts on Forbes.com, BBC? And I said, no, I don't go to the BBC. I'm here in Ghana. I sit here in Ghana. But if you are somebody who is always browsing BBC, and I have a product that you will need, I will show it to you on BBC or on Forbes. So these are some of the advancements that have come with regards to display ads. Like Tayo said, the content format is also key. Currently, we are able to place ads, and like I mentioned earlier, you don't need to go to my website to do the action. You can do the on the banner, and then I will get my conversion.
Okay. Hi, Amanda from Cape Town. Good to hear that it's sunny and warm there. I'm also just looking at all the comments, and I'm seeing one in particular that has struck a chord with me from Michael Modi. He's asking what the deprecation of third-party cookies is going to do, and this kicks it off for me. So we're focusing on the future of advertising. You said, how has it improved and has it decreased? And to a certain extent, I would say that the interesting thing for me has been that HTML5 became the banner standard a few years ago. It has not been embraced, and it has not really, created wowing content or anything. We're still receiving GIF banners, etc., etc. Now, one of the reasons why I feel that is because digital is kind of, to a large extent, always the long lost, forgotten end part of a big campaign. So my thinking with display advertising, programmatic advertising as a whole, actually, so whether it's social display, audio, etc., video, there needs to be less siloed sort of speaking between the creative department, media departments, etc., etc. That will bring better adverts out into the open. Now, why are better adverts more important going into the future? I think because, as Michael has rightly said, at the moment, for the past 4 or 5 years, we've really focused on building audiences and building remarketing campaigns that we can target people with exactly the right thing at the right time. And obviously, that's always still going to be the end goal. But goodbye third-party cookies. I don't think those are going to be around for much longer at all. It has been said that that's going to be the case. Google is working on answers to that. Great. Everyone else is also hoping for answers. The key, and this is where social is doing so well, is they're bringing in first-party data audiences. So the reason that it's not really going to affect Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn's, all etc., is because they have people logging into their platforms every day, leaving their details there every day, and that platform is watching how they behave on their web, on their mobile devices, on their web desktop devices, etc., etc. Google, in an ideal world, will have everyone and anyone signed into Gmail. It's not necessarily going to happen, especially since I use Gmail at home, but at work I use my work email address, and I'm in a different frame of mind each time. So the workaround is not necessarily there yet. Where publishers are finding a workaround for this is they're going to a subscription-based model. And this is to create their own walled garden of users who log in, put their details in, and that publisher then follows and measures how that person behaves. What I'm and then can, make their audiences and sell those in a private marketplace sort of thing. So instead of selling the inventory of a website, they're going to be selling us audiences, which is the hope for programmatic. One thing I do want to mention is, with programmatic, we talk about targeting the right person at the right time for the most relevant thing. But going back to what I was saying about creative departments and media departments and data departments all living in different silos, is the final thing at the bottom is right person, right time with the right message. And I think if we, have more say from the media and data side and understanding with creatives, the use of dynamic banners, etc., fantastic. But that initial look, feel, and understanding of the display ads and what can be done and how they can be done would automatically already start giving us better context, better options for contextual content targeting, etc., etc. So, yeah, thanks for that question, Michael. It's that could be like a 2-hour live just between you and I.
All those articles, right? Because there are so many articles about the third-party cookies, and now everyone is insane. What gonna we do? Like, no third-party cookies, no data. How are we gonna target people? But come on, guys, there are so many workarounds, and first of all, they are not gone yet, so don't be panicking. But there are like so many workarounds. Like one of the example, okay, publishers would just store and then sell your data, right? Then use historical data and so on. So I think that there would be like a more like legal workaround by the time they're actually gone. And I think that the same goes with the GDPR. Yeah, there are like a lot of limitations, but still, if you play it, how do I put it? Not harming the end user, right? If it is like your data, but it is without your name or without your email address or without your phone number, it is just you as an ID, which contains some
anonymized.
Yeah, so it is not harmful from my, I don't know, in my opinion. It is vice versa, because we know what you're interested in, so we don't bomb you with the ad, which is not relevant for you at all, right? So the example, like, why would I be seeing, for example, Pampers ad if I'm not a young mom, right? Is it like, are you trying to convince me or what? So I think that it's like, this, of course, we are being European companies, so we are fully GDPR compliant. So we had to adapt our platform to that. But to be honest, it did not affect us much. It is just to keep our users safe, which is a good thing. So this is just my opinion. So, Tayo, I want to ask you, because like I'm interested in like, I know Matt, I know Alex, they like work in a performance or conversion based environment, but this year we see a lot of FMCG brands moving to conversions. So if it is, for example, a beer brand, they want sales. If it is like FMCG soap shampoo brand, they want sales on the ground or like in the e-commerce space. So tell me from your experience, if it is like some information you can share. So how are your brand this year? Like, is it still like engagement awareness based, or also moving to performance?
So I think that, of course, our dear COVID has made everyone rethink in different ways, especially from a business point of view. And yes, of course, conversions are yes, engagement is still, because for FMCGs, it's all about top of mind awareness and being in the mind of the consumers when they need to make that purchase decision. But of course, that we've had to ramp up e-commerce, and and by an extension, since there's the opportunity to have a online to online conversion, conversions are now a big thing. So basically, before, if the display banner used to say no more, click here, it now says buy now. It now says shop now. So there's been of course that change to performance, and of course, because it's like at an initial phase for us, and we keep learning, which is maybe, if I may jump a bit to one of the challenges for display, is that it's been boxed into the corner where it's seen as just an awareness platform. It's just CPM. And so when I want to do performance, I would consider consider something else, right? I would consider a different platform. But like Alex has mentioned, you have banner formats that give you conversions right in there and right on the spot. You do remarketing, people are able to see the products. You have product banner ads. They can see the different products. They can see different variants. They can click right there and then they can purchase. So there is a lot more that display can do in terms of conversions now. But to directly answer your question, yes, we are also in that phase where we are looking for conversions in virtually everything we do, and of course, bringing display into that would be to see what are the different ways we can make our display banners a lot more conversion driven and focused than just awareness.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So before we jump into a futuristic discussion, I see a few questions from people about programmatic in general, what it is. So if you just give me like 1 minute to simply like explain what is programmatic and why it is important in this conversation, right? So if before you were going to BBC or Forbes.com to buy an ad, as Alex mentioned, so now you don't need to go to every publisher separately. You can go to some programmatic platform like Eskimi DSP or any other, and you can actually book your advertising on millions of sites and apps where your target audience is. And it is not only traffic you get from those sites and apps, which are very important, are brand safe usually. I'm speaking about the Eskimi DSP, so it is brand safe. I'm not talking about other platforms. But then you also know whom you're targeting very well. So if it is a female, if it is a mother, and so on and so on. So the programmatic advertising is just like an automated way of buying of buying traffic, but still some of the human input is there. So it's at our end, it's not fully automated because we still help with the strategy and like creative execution and everything. But for you just to make your life a bit easier, not going to local publishers, international publishers, identifying where to find, on which blog to find that mother, so you can do it programmatically much easier. So just to jump in and just to answer those questions.
Yeah, it's basically just software that does the buying on your behalf. Exactly. So Facebook is programmatic, AdWords search is programmatic. All those things are actually programmatic. Yeah. It's just it's a word that's been hijacked and sort of used as a placeholder for display. But really, you can do so much more with it than just the display advertising. And not that I'm belittling display. I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so now moving into like future. So first, maybe question. So what is your opinion on this third-party cookies GDPR? So Matt already mentioned a bit, but in the future, like, how do you think will it affect the data we are getting, the targeting options we have, like realistically?
Okay, let me take that. I think it's not a problem if let me bring it to traditional advertising or selling. Let me just use selling. If I buy from a supermarket and the shop owner or the shop attendant tells me I always buy ABCD item, so let me take your contact and I will prompt you every time there is one that you need. And whenever time I get one and I prompt you, that is when you will make the purchase. And it makes it very easy for you, apart from you going around searching for it, it makes it very easy for you to get what you need at the time you need them. For me, this is how the programmatic is. This is how the display ads are now. If there is something I need based on my usage trend or based on my lifestyle, then when that thing is available somewhere, this system prompts me that, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this. So that is what it is. I don't think it's a problem. I actually think people would gradually get to understand this. and we'll be okay with the trend. As far as we keep it safe, like you said, on Eskimi, brands are safe on there, consumers are safe on there. So as far as we're able to keep it safe, I think people would even be willing to actually sign up somewhere saying, okay, if you get this, prompt me. I think these are things people are doing already on some e-commerce sites. But if you go there and you don't get what you want, you actually leave a message to be prompted when there is some in stock. So this is it. I don't think it will be a big problem.
Yeah, just accept that cookie if you want to accept it, right?
Yeah, yes. You would have to accept.
Mhm.
All right.
And sell your soul and have adverts following you around for the next 6 months telling you to buy a pair of sneakers you've already bought.
Yeah.
or a pair of
No,
sneakers
so
that are not your size.
yeah, but you see, that's actually where the targeting is. So I mentioned the reach and targeting and ad formats and all. These are the challenges we are facing now. Do we reach the right people at the right time, at the time that they need the products? There are a little bit of inaccuracies in there, and once we get all these things right, once we get these the targeting and all these things right, it will be in the right direction, right?
So basically, users and advertisers and advertiser has to become used to it. That's it. Yeah, so
Yes, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we'll most likely move to the unified identifier system versus the cookie-based system. It will be interesting to see how platforms will roll it out. I mean, speaking to what Matt said about, imagine if every website you go to now tells you that you need to sign in to access the website just because they need to get your data. Will be hectic, but we would eventually, find a balance to that. But I'm sure that just like social does, programmatic will have to move to that space of, I mean, for a platform like Eskimi, where you ideally already have like a unified identity, an ID for each user, where you can trace them across different platforms, such that you're not duplicating people. That sort of is where we need to go to. That's where we have to be, because once you don't have access to third party data, you need to get data for yourself, and you need to be able to use it on your own platform. So of course, with things like GDPR and other and privacy laws becoming increasingly important and constantly being talked about in the places that matter, we'll see more stringent laws come into place, and platforms will really have to work fast to adapt to these rules, to make themselves compliant with whatever rules are put in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you think about the sort of open exchanges and networks that we started buying on a few years ago, it really was the wild west out there, and there's been many reports and many investigations into the sheer numbers of ad fraud, so click fraud, and viewability standards, etc. These are very important discussions that need to be being had, especially when it was coming out that for every $1 going in, 30 cents of that dollar was disappearing into a sort of a black hole. That's that is your client's money. But more importantly, I mean, we all have pride in what we do, and you feel like you've kind of been stolen from it. So that's one aspect of brand safety that still very much should be on the cards. And I think everyone does have a role to play in that, in the whole ecosystem. The buck sort of does stop often with the agency and with the media buyer. But it's really heartening to see how many more publishers have taken this very seriously from their sides as well. Because, for me, it was always a case of, well, I'm buying something from you, and then I'm finding out that 20% of it is not even in the bag when I get home. You're kind of feeling, and same for them. They're going, yeah, but we gave you that 20%. Where did it disappear? So that, we're refining that sell side as well to understand where things are coming from and where they're going. The other thing with brand safety is brand safety or brand context the discussion that's actually happening with display. So, it's always amazed me that a brand will come out and say, don't put me on any news websites. I don't want to be next to car crashes or airplane disasters or anything like that. Same brand goes to their TD buying department and says, the primetime news is the best time for you to put buying your television ad. And it's the same news. It's the context though, and you've got, and that's where the careful and clever understanding between creative departments, media buying departments, and the data talks into all these things. Because obviously, from a brewery sort of side, you don't want a car crash and then buy our beer to come up as an advert. That would be terrible. So yeah, there's a number of things that need to be taken into context when we're talking brand safe, brand environment, etc., etc. And I do feel that sometimes it might not be the greatest content in terms of the nicest fluffy stories of the day in the news, but if people are engaging with it and that's the news and where they're seeing adverts that they're probably going to pay more attention to, sometimes it's the nasty trigger that needs to be pulled. I often say I work in advertising, not in the church, which is a nice way of saying we're all at the end of the day trying to just get the best performance for clients, and I guess ethics and morals are things that you've got to keep in mind when you're doing your targeting.
Yeah, for brand safety, of course, it is very important. Whatever platform you're using for your display advertising, it's important to understand what do you want from brand safety perspective, right? So when we first launched our DSP 5 years ago, it was RTB at that point. So we noticed from very beginning that a lot of users and clicks are just fraud. That's why immediately we started building tools which would detect those bots and fraud. And that's why for 5 years now, continuously, like we are not building, but upgrading our tools so that all clicks are real and like advertisers, that they don't lose their money for like some not real clicks, not real users. But on top of that, of course, when you run campaign for some global FMCG brand and they give you like a blacklist of keywords with the millions of keywords, and you're like, okay, so where do you put that ad? Because like there is no place because some of those keywords would be on that site or app. So yeah, so it's actually very important, and I think that brand safety obviously would be evolving very much upcoming years. But even now, internal tools and external tools like DV, like integral science mode, and all of those we can all together control and just to keep our clients, partners safe online, right? So I think that the most maybe interesting part for the future. So how do you see the creative executions changing and platforms like, for example, connected TV and how like now we have Reach Media, and if we were talking about last year, Reach Media was something new, and even now you can do something very interesting and innovative with Reach Media. But I think that that's not enough anymore. So how do you see, how can we innovate in display in from the creative perspective? So
Okay.
yeah, Reach Media.
That's
Like
okay.
in the banner and everything, but like, how do you think those flying cars in terms of creative execution will be there? Like,
I mean, I will speak to creative formats and a bit of other future trends I see. From a creative point of view, will be obviously more and more I mean, especially for the FMCGs, will be increasingly looking for creative formats that can drive conversions, that can deliver on performance. And not just awareness. Then I think one of the things quick discussions we had before we went live is the fact that there will be no flying cars. What we would have, we have quite innovative formats at the moment, right? It will just be, upgrades on what we have, just making them, making better, refining them better. I mean, with every for example, as a brand, with every time we do a creative execution, we realize that there's a way it could have been done better, and then you go back to the publisher and say, can we try this out? And then it's better, and then it becomes a trend, it becomes replicated. The floating ads, I remember some years ago, 2 years ago or so, there was something Guinness did with a local publisher where the clicker is actually a Guinness bottle. And when that happened, you had several brands replicating the same thing. So I think that we actually have quite innovative formats at the moment, which we will continue to explore over time, and just continue to refine and make better. And this, of course, will also depend on the capabilities of the platforms or the publishers, what they open up their platforms to be able to do. Then we would also look at more outcome-based bidding models, and not just CPM. Just like you have your CPDs, cost per downloads or cost per installs, we'll be looking, or cost per acquisition, for example, we'll be looking at more outcome-based. I would only pay not when 1,000 people see my banner. I would pay when a particular outcome, has happened, and so there will be an increase in that. One I'm really looking forward to is programmatic coming onto digital out of home. I know that, for example, in Nigeria, you have Candle, Alpha and Jam, which is trying to set this in motion, where you have programmatic ads being served on digital boards, digital out of home, depending, of course, on the traffic. Where is it? Is it the island? Is it the mainland? I think that is also going to be implemented in the coming couple of years. Hopefully not so far, because it's a very sorry.
Yeah, so we already have it. It doesn't even have to be like a programmatic billboard. There is already like a way to connect out of home and online ads. We do it simply by geofencing. Yeah, so we already tried it, done campaigns. So it's actually very nice. So you connect online and offline.
Yeah.
So that's I think it would evolve a lot.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it as something that
no.
that businesses will begin to embrace a lot more of it.
Out of home was like competing with online, right? And now you can actually connect. So that's what I'm saying. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that businesses will adopt more of this, going forward as time goes. Yeah. And in the area of standardization of especially from an IAB point of view, if I say that I want the banner to show for 2 seconds, and it has to be at this point, there's going to be a lot more pressure to keep those standards across different publishers. So those are a couple of things I see. Maybe the futuristic thing would be, how 3D and things like 3D and AR will come into display advertising very soon. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'll add on. I'll add on, and I'm still going to go back to the key metrics that I try to measure our advertising by. So with regards to reach, I envisage there will be a lot more reach. I think recently I saw Eskimi partnering with Cola something. The name just skipped. Truecaller.
Truecaller, yeah.
Yes, to push ads on Truecaller and all. So I think in the future there will be a lot more of such partnerships with all sort of apps and other digital platforms apart from the website, apart from traditional websites, so we can have a lot more reach with regards to the adverts. Again, in terms of targeting, this one is key for me. In terms of targeting, I always tell my people that I'm looking for the day where I don't show my advert to somebody who will just walk by the advert or just scroll by the advert. the advert needs to be shown to the one that needs it. So even with Eskimi, I've been pushing a lot more with some integrations with our systems where the person that needs to buy airtime will see the advert. It's not that just anybody seeing some particular advert. So targeting for me is very, very key. Like Vita said earlier, if I want to demonstrate a synchronized form of advertising, if you are watching at home and my advert plays at 7 p.m. around that time, if you are browsing or if you're on whatever website, you have to see my advert there also. So that that kind of synchronization happens. If you are passing by the a billboard that has my advert just around that location, if you are on your phone, you probably may have to see the ad. That is if you are the right target. So targeting for me is very, very key. And I think that is what brings us that the level of performance that we actually need. The creative bit, yes, will get the person to stop and watch and pay attention to the content. Now, the conversion is when the person needs it. So if when we show the advert to the person that needs it, it really would help us in the future. I'm touching again on the performance. So how are we able to even track the performance of the ads? That if I post this, the metrics that come, the tracking, the reports and all, are they that accurate? Are they able to inform me of what next steps to take? So this one is just adding on to what Tayo said, that when we post, something needs to prompt us that do this the next time, do that the next time. And this is based on the reporting and the views and the engagements that happen on the ad. So that's what I would touch on briefly.
Okay, thank you. Matt, you have something to add?
Oh, when we were still talking about the creative ad units that are available,
so we just
I'm
expand.
going all the way back there to what Tayo was mentioning. So just also seeing a comment about the trade desk, and I think that before I move on to what I was going to say about creative units, etc., there are many different platforms out there, and I think what's important for agencies and marketers to also experience is different platforms. You know, we've got a very, I'm going to say it, we've got a very Google-based world. And don't get that. I mean, that is an incredible platform. The DoubleClick now, you know, Google Ad Stack, the DV360 stack, amazing, does what needs to be done. There are certain elements that Eskimi does a lot better, that the trade desk does a lot better. You've got to you realize each one has proprietary software and proprietary sort of algorithms that all do some fantastic targeting, and one will do a digital out of home a lot better than the others. That's going to happen. If we take a look back at where I see creative going, right in the beginning, I mentioned, you know, HTML5 became the standard. Everyone ignored it and just carried on sending GIFs. But I do strongly encourage all marketers and all, you know, media buyers, etc., to go look at richmediagallery.com. These are very easy, like executable sort of like banner ads coming in and .gifs. We can't expect the creative departments and brand managers, etc., to know what they don't know. Same for us. We can't know what we don't know about the creative side and things. My big hope for the future of display, if I had to look at it from one top view thing, is a breaking down of silos where different departments speak to each other a lot better. Data, media, creative, all talk a lot better to get understandings of what's possible, what's not possible from each other. And also from, you know, the point of view that programmatic buying is making things like digital TV, radio, all these formats available from one sole place. We can also start marrying the creative together. What Alex was saying about my TV ad comes on at 7 p.m. and then I want people browsing and my ad to show to them. It's no good if your TV ad is about a dancing meerkat. But then the video, the ad display unit that comes up is somebody driving a fancy 4x4. They're not related, and it's because digital, print, or everyone talks different things and is pitching different things. Digital needs to be brought in and consolidated from the start. Ryan Eberlin hits it right there. Consolidation is key. That's my thing. Break down the silos. Everyone needs to talk and understand each other and know what's available to be doing what's the ability to do it. Thanks for sharing that, Wilke.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, my last question was regarding pricing and how do you think will it be like even compared to out of home, and how digital will be more expensive or cheaper? Do you have any like thoughts on that? Because from my point of view, like what I see, there is like so much competition that everyone will have to lower down the prices, the rates for doing display. But what are your like short thoughts on that?
I mean, as it is already, and I always have to cite this example every now and then to say that where you have a billboard that costs a fixed amount, for a particular duration. On the other hand, on digital, you have, so sometimes, I have to, we're reviewing a media plan, and then I say that, you know what, we are setting it at 5 naira per view right now, and it can go as low as 1 naira, depending on how interesting it is. People, some people find it interesting, like, no, but it should be 5 naira. Why is it going to 1 naira? Why is it not a fixed cost? And I think that as the model is at the moment, whereby it's not necessarily a fixed cost, it is based on different things, different algorithms, the interaction, how relevant is your banner to your landing page, how relevant is your banner to the consumers, how many people are interacting with your banners, all of those things come to play to actually determine how much you spend. So I wouldn't say, and of course there is different parties here. There's Eskimi that owns the platform, there's the publisher, there's the ad servers, and everybody wants a bit of it. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it would become cheaper. I would say that the onus is on us, the brands, and the media buyers and the creative department to create ads that are so engaging that we get it for $0.00000001 per CPM. Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned it right in the beginning. There was a comment that said ROI is important, and I think that's the measure that needs to be taken into, because what is expensive, or is CPM? CPM is how media is sold, and then even in the back end, platforms would work it back to a cost per install or cost per download, cost per buy. It's the ROI that matters, and I think quality does cost. And when we start chopping out that click fraud and viewability issues, all that sort of thing, advertisers, marketers, and clients would probably be a lot more comfortable once they start seeing that the performance that is being sort of hailed and promised from all these platforms is leading to what it promises. That's what it comes down to for me. And I've often gone to publishers and platforms and vendors in my time with agencies and said, I don't mind paying you the whole budget, and I won't mix it all over in different stuff, but I need to get the performance. And there are guys that get it, and there's guys who don't. And very quickly you can get yourself put on a list that don't use that publisher. They're very cheap, but they're cheap for a reason. That's the last thought from me. I'll pay for quality, and I think I could say that for most people. If the return on investment is there, I'll pay.
Yeah, so there was a question actually about the leads, and can you do like leads campaigns on programmatic? So the answer is like, the bidding would be like on CPM basis, but then by the end of the day, you would just see what is cost per lead are you getting, and then you can compare it to other platforms, and then you decide where is the quality lead and what is the price of the lead, right? So it's not like basically comparing CPM to CPM. But it's like more like holistic view on the rates and pricing, and I think that a lot of marketers now actually are looking for those performance and quality leads and conversions, right? So this is where we're moving to. So Alex, even you, I know.
Okay, so to touch on the pricing, I would say it's based what returns I am getting actually.
Yeah.
And if Matt mentioned it, if you are giving me what I need, I wouldn't mind paying you a whole budget for the year to get what I need. So we really need to look at how we are enhancing the display ads and how it is helping us to grow our conversions. Because at the end of the day, if somebody sees my advert, I want the person to pay attention to it, and I want the person to take the action that I'm expecting of them to take. If the person doesn't pay attention, if the person doesn't take the action, basically I have not met my objective. So this is where I think we should get to see how then can we enhance programmatic or this display to really get the returns that we the investment that we put in the returns that we put in the investment. Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, to conclude, the future of display advertising is bright because marketers are more focusing on return on investment, which is the most important part, right?
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
I'll say one last thing. Display future is bright because 10 years ago, people were doing it, like I said right in the beginning, doing it because somebody needed to get into it. In agencies, they are incredibly young. Like there's some awesome talent coming out from youngsters now who, 18, 19, 20-year-olds or whatever. They're far younger than myself and possibly many of us on this call. They're getting the opportunity to learn from what our mistakes were, and they're going to be awesome advertisers and marketers. And I think, I'm being nice to them now so they look after me in my old age, but that's the truth of it.
Okay.
So Vita, so I see that there's some questions we probably may not be able to take because of time.
Yeah.
I see a question from
Do you want to answer some?
Leo.
Yeah.
There's just two quick questions I will answer. There's one question from Leo about what will the ideal pitch or partnership by a publisher with me be. For us, where we plan the year on a campaign by campaign basis, and you have a system whereby the objective of this campaign is different from that campaign. I practically cannot say there is one pitch you give me that will work for me throughout the year, right? Except a production house. But when it comes to media buy, because my needs will vary probably 2 or 3 months, every 2 or 3 months, there isn't one particular ideal pitch. However, we know that for us, we know that reach is key. We always want reach. We always want, like Alex said, whatever will deliver on my objective, I'm fine with it. So if what you offer delivers on my objective at that time, if what I want to, for example, if I'm running a campaign that is content heavy and I'm looking for other platforms that are content focused that I want to, work with, then, for example, if that's the focus of the campaign, then maybe, for example, Pulse will be my ideal partner because they have, they have a content rich platform. So the need will vary from campaign to campaign, and knowing what those platforms offer, it will then determine what how I would accept your pitch, or if I will find you necessary at the time. And for the second question from Francis Ebuehi, which is, what has been my experience pitching to financial services in terms of conversions? So I have from the agency side, I've worked with businesses like FBN Quest, where you're not even selling accounts, you are selling mutual funds, which is probably a notch higher. And the knowledge of mutual funds at the time is like you're buying a house, all the documentation involved, and we had to simplify it with digital. So definitely selling conversions to financial houses, especially for the specialized financial houses, it's a different ball game, because for them they'll ask you, I want 1 million accounts. I want you to tell me how much it will cost me to get 1 million accounts. And it doesn't work exactly that way. It is, you have to run ads here and here and here and here and here that will accumulate in, one, and then when there's an interface in between where probably the salesperson has to give a call, then you never know what happens in between and if that can deliver. So it's a different ball game. You need lots of experience in performance marketing to be able to sell conversions to a financial service and be sure that you can deliver on it. So good knowledge of performance marketing will give you that one up, to be able to sell to financial services. Yeah, so that's
All right.
it. Just
So
wanted to answer those two questions.
okay, good. So I saw Leo's question as well. I think he tagged me in it. So all right,
Yeah.
just to tackle that. I actually met Leo in 2017 in Ghana at the post office. So Leo, hi. All right. So like Tayo said, the objectives of the business vary based on what campaigns they are running and all. But just to give you an insight on how your pitch should be, CMOs are particularly looking at how they can max their budget year on year, in the sense that they want to see how they can use the same money they used last year but achieve more. That's what CMOs are looking for per a few articles I've read and a few case studies I've reviewed online. And personally, I'm also looking for the same thing, because if I'm able to keep the same budget I'm using today and you're able to use that same budget tomorrow and still get even better returns, then is the execution I'm going to go for. And I see digital has that opportunity. So if the agencies are pitching, they should look at that at the back of their strategy, that okay, I'm coming up with this platform or this strategy or this plan or this tactics for you to use, and you don't need to quote unquote spend a lot, but you would get the returns you are expecting. All we need to see is that if we invest this in it, we are going to get this, and that there will be some profit within in between there.
Yeah, makes sense. But I think like you have to be dynamic and you have to adapt to the client's KPIs constantly. Not like as Tayo mentioned, not for the year, but like every day, right? So I think that's the most important for publishers. So, guys, we have some questions we did not answer, but I have them, and we will just answer them in comments if it is okay, because like we're already more than 1 hour, so I promise not to keep it too long. So,
it's getting interesting. So
yeah. But yeah, we will answer all those questions, no problems. But I think, yeah, so I think that even with all the changes in digital and display, so still the future is bright, right? So
sure.
So I think that we enjoyed this session. Hopefully, everyone who joined us and will be maybe reviewing this this recording will also enjoy this. So thank you very much, guys. Tayo, Alex, Matt, and basically till next sessions, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
All right,
Bye, everybody.